A lot of you guys who are in the crowd, a lot of the parents, 40 years ago may have heard a saying that goes something along the lines of, the best way to success is to go to college and get that 4-year degree. And you know what? 4 years ago, that may have been true. That may have yielded the highest return on investment, and that may have set most people up for the future the best way. But today in 2026, that may not be the case. I mean, we have gone through countless new presidents. We have even gone through a whole pandemic. I mean, a lot has changed in these past years. And so here, I want to talk to you guys about the pathway that nobody told me about when I was applying to college. And I know I'm not the only one that wasn't told about these pathways too, because this happened exactly to my sister. My sister, she just graduated from UC Berkeley with a 4-year degree in ancient Greek and Roman studies. I know, you may be thinking to yourself, oh, it's a pretty niche degree. And it is. It's a degree that had about 4 people in her graduating class that year. And because of this, it didn't lead to a lot of job opportunities. And so she fits into this demographic, according to the Inside Hired, that says 1 in 4 students who graduate college wish they have chosen a completely different path. And even if my sister was able to get a job with that degree, I just don't think that she would enjoy that, because her love has been in acting. And when she was applying to colleges, she never heard about all these acting schools and stuff. She never heard about trade school that she could go to. She never knew she could be an apprentice at these acting places and learn from behind the scenes and maybe be a background actor and work her way up. And I want to reach out to you parents and show you that, and try to break you outside of that bubble that college does not guarantee automatic success. And a lot of people, they do make these decisions without knowing everything. And they do make these decisions with incomplete information. And that is a lot to do with these college counselors that are telling these kids. A lot of these college counselors, it's in the name. College counselors, they lead them to college. And they are really one of the biggest influences in your child's life after they graduate from high school. And I really think that it should change. I think the parents should be informed, and the parents should know what's best for their child too, and should inform them on these decisions. But I'm not trying to convince you guys that college is all bad. And so here are some statistics that will help me back that up. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, here are 2 median weekly earnings from 2 various different levels of education. First off, we have a master's degree. Master's degree you get within 5, 6, 7 years after you graduate from high school. And it's very expensive to get a lot of times. But on average, they earn about $2,362 a week. Compared to a person without going to college and just a high school diploma, they earn about $930 a week. Huge difference. It's about 150%. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, why wouldn't I just send my kid to get a master's degree? Well, because it only shows the median. It doesn't show those outliers. It doesn't show the people that get their master's degree and fail outside of school because they got something they hate, just like my sister. And it doesn't show those people who get their high school diploma and succeed after college. It shows everyone combined. And even if you do get your bachelor's degree, there are many great things about that. Like STEM majors make $98,000 a year, according to the Center of Education and Workforce. And public service majors make about $58,000 a year. But you're thinking to yourself right now, both these people went to the same school and did the same amount of time in education. They went about for 4 years, and there's a $40,000 pay gap here. And the reason that is because getting a degree doesn't mean as much anymore. When you walk that stage across graduation 40 years ago, maybe having your name and your school name on it was all that you needed to get a job in the future. But today, unfortunately, that may not be the case. Today, a lot of people, they care more about the major than what school you went to. And that's something I want to educate you parents on, is that also going to the greatest school doesn't mean as much anymore. It still is very impressive to go to a great school, but there's a lot of great schools out there. And I also want to talk about the cost of college. The cost of college has gone up a lot significantly. Today, the average in-state student going to an in-state tuition school is about $30,900, and that's according to the College Board. And this number includes the tuition, housing, food, supplies, etc., everything in between the lines. And this is just for 1 year. Multiply that by 4, because that's what the average amount of years a student goes to. You're getting about $120,000 for their degree, and maybe they fail a class or two and they have to go for another year, so that'll be 5 years. And that cost, it adds up quick. And that will lead to a lot of student debt coming on. For example, also according to the College Board, the average student graduates with $29,560 in student loan debt. And that was in the class of 2024. So that was very recently. So you're thinking about this maybe, and you just graduate, and you're wondering, maybe this is a good number. Maybe my kid can pay this off within 5-10 years. And you know what? Maybe he can. But there's also a lot of people in this statistic alone. This includes people who have gotten their college paid for by their parents and has also gotten maybe grants, a lot of scholarships, and also the student athletes who go to these colleges for free. And especially if you go to a private school, private college, this number can increase significantly. So, what are the other options? So the other options are, you could go to trade school. You could be an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC technician. Today, these are all great jobs. I want to tell you parents, broaden your horizons. Get the idea that college is the best way out of your head, because when I show you these numbers, you're going to be shocked. You're going to see that the median annual wage for a blue-collar worker, and this is between someone who's 18 and 35, so fairly early on in their career, is $61,000. And this is all according to the Center on Education and Workforce. And this number is a lot more than what many college graduates earn during their time from these ages. But the other great thing about this is that these students, your kids, will graduate without any student debt. If they join construction, or if they become an apprentice, they'll graduate with 0 student debt and automatically get a job right out of high school. And you know what? That's great for them, because they're earning money quick and they're learning how to live a lifestyle that's alone and free. Also, another thing that you could do is you could do a 2-year trade school program. I have many friends who are doing this. I have a friend who is trying to become an electrician right now, and the average electrician program for trade school is $14,640, about half about what the average in-state tuition is. And the great thing about this, it only is a 2-year program, and this returns about $60,000 a year, and you could become a barber, and that earns on average, and that's on average to go to barber school is $15,090, and that returns about $33,400 a year. And imagine this. Imagine you're just working for 2 years in school and not having to sit in a library studying for hours on end on a degree that you don't know you want to do, and a degree that's very expensive. Another thing that I want to show you is, this is according to Current Swimming, who does research on apprenticeships. He found out that the lifetime earning for people who complete an apprenticeship compared to people who with similar jobs, like people who do trade school, and is about $240,000 more. So you may be wondering, how do I get my kid to become an apprentice? Or what is an apprentice? So imagine, instead of going to trade school, you learn at the job site. So your kid will go to the job site, and he'll be a shadow basically, and he'll shadow someone for a year or 2 or 3, and he'll earn a wage while doing it. He'll earn a much less wage, but he'll definitely earn a wage. And the reason why everyone doesn't do this is because it's very hard to get into. It's very hard to get an apprenticeship because it's very hard to get someone to teach you stuff on a job site when you have zero work experience at all. And another reason why I want to do this and tell you about this stuff is because my parents never told me, and my parents never knew about the other opportunities that I could have. So my dream was I wanted to work in an F1 garage. And to be honest, I still do. And I don't care what job I have. I just want to be there with the cars, with the drivers, and with the people. And I've learned that I may have chose the wrong path to do that. Clemson may not have been the best opportunity for me to go to work inside an F1 garage because my parents never knew about the idea that there was trade schools in Europe, specifically one in Silverstone, England, which is the birthplace of Formula One, where it's a 2-year program where you study Formula One at the track, but then you also, during the weekends, you would go to the track and you would work in the garages with the teams that come in every week, and you'll get that real hands-on experience. So, parents, what should you do for your students and for your kids? Well, first off, I think you guys need to explore every path. You need to sit down with your kid and you need to talk about college, whether that's a great thing. Is your kid very smart and is he eager to go to college? Because a lot of kids today, they aren't eager. And they add up in that statistic where 1 in 4 students don't regret what they do. Do they want to go to trade school? Apprenticeships, that's also very good. And there's also many other opportunities they can do. There's infinite. They could join the military. I have 3 friends that are starting to do that. And I know many people, and you hear about many of these stories about people who started a successful business outside of college, outside and right after high school, and even start one in high school. There's this one kid in my school who created a 6-figure company right now. He's 22, and he just deals with moving business. And it's something so simple that creates such a good return on investment for him and makes him a great money. And so, you guys need to also run the numbers on each. You need to figure out what career does your kid want to go in after they get their degree. So, is it worth it? How long will their trade school training take? What is the cost of the college? What is the cost of the trade school? Is my student going to go into debt? They most likely are, and that's okay, because the government helps you out with that. But how much debt am I going to be taking on? And is that reasonable for me? And also, what does your kid's life look like at 25, 35, 40, 60? Is it something that's sustainable for them in the future? Is it something that AI is going to take? Because when you were in your workforce, you don't have to worry about AI. You have to worry about the internet, I guess, taking your job. But now, your kids, they got to worry about AI and what the future entails for them. I want to say thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoy my TED Talk. Bye.